once there will be the wallet in the hands of the European citizens, every time that they will sign the language, the interoperability language will be the standards of CSC.
There's a piece of CSC behind.
In 10 years history, I think that CSC reached quite the results.
Hi everyone, and welcome back to Hello Trust, the podcast of Tinexta InfoCert regarding the world of digital trust regulation and security. Today's topic with me, there is Igor Marcolongo.
Hi Silvio, hi everybody.
In quality of board member of CSC.
Yep.
The Cloud Signature Consortium, and it's the topic of this episode of Hello Trust. So, right away, what is CSC, Cloud Signature Consortium?
CSC stands for Cloud Signature Consortium. It's a consortium that has been founded 10 years ago in Europe by a few providers in the field of digital trust. Okay. The aim of CSC is to be fully global. And the main focus is the interoperability between signing applications and certificate issuance. Okay. That's why it has not been focused only in Europe and only in qualified trust service providers or eIDAS compliant trust service providers. Since the very beginning, the idea of CSC was to become global and to offer to the world the standards that can simplify and the interoperability, the relationship between these two worlds that are separate but shall be interconnected because one cannot work without the other.
Okay, so a global enabler regarding at this core there is the signature, but not only actually, to create an interoperable world and a more trusted world.
Yes, and there is today CSC has 85 members from all over the world. Less than half are European, because Europe is really evolved with a lot of players. So
it's a beacon, no?
Even
digital trust. Actually,
even statistically, it's even statistically now it has a weight. But the association is growing a lot in every part of the world with local representatives that are really active, and they are working a lot to spread the word of CSC in terms of standardization and interoperability.
And regarding standardization, actually, I know that the work of CSC brought quite the results recently, right?
Yes, totally. In CSC, there is a technical committee that is really active and that in these years designed and developed the standards that then has been published and offered to the public. It is still operating and working on the standard to add a new feature, to create new certifications, even an auditing and certification program, and so on. On the same time, other committees and other activities has been to advocate the existence of the standards into the public institutions. And one big result has been that in the implementing act that is referencing and saying how the UDI wallet shall interoperate with signature providers, with certificate providers, the CSC is the language that has been chosen. So once there will be the wallet in the hands of the European citizens, and every time that they will sign the language, the interoperability language will be the standards of CSC.
There is a piece of CSC behind.
In 10 years history, I think that CSC reached quite the results.
Quite the results, absolutely. And I know about a recent event that has been organized in Bogota, and it's called Trust Without Borders. Can you talk about it?
Yes, of course, sure. So Trust Without Borders is an initiative that has been launched 4 years ago. The first the first summit has been in Tokyo. Then last year we were in Cape Town. And the overall idea is to bring the standards and the concept around the CSC into local communities in other parts of the world, and even share views, because we know,
Yeah, of course.
being Europeans, at least as the next InfoCert, we know quite well how things are going in Europe. In other regions of the world, we have different point of views that are good to be compared.
Integrated also.
In Bogota, we had a third edition of Trust Without Borders, together with the local partners, local associate of CSC, and it has been even sponsored by Tinexta InfoCert and our subsidiary Camerfirma Colombia. So local presence that are bringing Tinexta InfoCert solutions into the Colombian market. The event has been a huge success. In terms of participation, there were for sure Europeans that were going to the event that is becoming one of the most important events in the space of trust and interoperability. But there were a lot of local companies, Colombian and not over, even from the neighboring countries, even from Brazil, a lot of regulators that were discussing and talking about how to advance in terms of cooperation, how to advance in terms of interoperability. Okay. It has been really, really interesting to be there and to contribute in that debate.
So, Trust Without Borders in Bogota, I heard about the outcomes, and this time, maybe for the first time, I don't know, but it's not only around the historical topic that is the digital signature. You discussed a lot about something quite different.
Yes, indeed. You know, there were visionaries and experts from all over the world. Probably the most important into our space were in Bogota. So it's normal that you try to speak about the future. Yeah. A future that put at the center the signature, the concept of digital signature, the technology behind the needs of interoperability is now a common sense around all the business. But its applications and the evolution of the world now poses new challenges. One is verification. It's not a challenge to verify the signature. We know that we have a lot of different verifications. Europe has the European Trusted List that is very important, where you can compare the validity of your signatures into the trust chain and understand that, yeah, I can trust this document, it is signed content, for example. But in many parts of the world, there are different approaches. Yeah. And on the same time, we have a huge infrastructure that is publicly used, but it is private owned, that is the Adobe approved trusted list. We spoke about that, how to make this system of verification and trusted list better cooperate, but because this is a challenge, especially because the number and the amount of digitally signed elements, documents, contents, transactions is growing a lot. Yes. And with the rise of the e-wallet, it will expand. With the rise of the device identity and the IoT and the identity of agents will still grow exponentially. So we need to be on the same page in terms of verification, in terms of trust frameworks that are different. Yeah. Through all around the world.
And so the verification topic has been a hot topic.
It is becoming a hot topic.
Okay. Yeah. And as an analogy almost, with the signature concept and verification of this signature, there is something similar about another outcome regarding the authentication of the digital identities.
Yes, we did really quite a good job in terms of identity verification technologies. Yes. We have policies, we have technologies, biometrics to identify a person and transpose it into a certificate. Now the challenge is and the focus is moving around not who are you and that is signing, but are you really authorized to sign this? So all this power of attorney and delegation topic that is getting quite a hype. There will be even with the wallets, with the business wallet, especially in Europe, a specific focus even into the engines of this. But again, CSC is global. Europe is not only the only core. We really need to have debate and agreements around this authorization topic, because it's becoming important, and if solved and when solved, will really unlock a lot of opportunities and speed up a lot of processes. So gaining efficiency and contributing to the global growth.
I see like a red line connecting this, a how important line connecting this topic, that is around the concept of let's work in a more trusted way together, not only in a macro region of the world like Europe, of course, but also North America and Asia, but let's really work together to improve and be more secure doing business. And this translates itself like in a sort of mutual recognition around the topic of security and digital trust.
Totally. Trust without borders. Digital typically doesn't recognize the borders that the human creates.
Luckily, no.
And even trust, at the end, is a need of the world that conflicts with the concept of the borders. But the borders do exist. So how to overcome it or lower the bar that they can bring in throughout mutual recognition. So it's not anymore technical, the topic. We have the standards and we have the technology to that. There is a lot of activities still going on. The standards of CSC, but even the ETSI one, that is a beacon in terms of standardization, or the NIST in the US, will continue to evolve accordingly to the evolution of the technology. But what we really need to foster, and Trust Without Borders Summit is really a forum that is pushing in that direction, is to talk with regulators and to talk and to enable the conversation between the regulators in order to go towards a mutual recognition of the different trust models. Europe here is playing a role, for example, with all the trade exchange agreements that now are being signed. For example, the one with Mercosur. But we cannot forget, and this was an outcome of Bogota's event, that if Europe can speak at least on trust with one single voice, because we have a regulation, we have institution, and so on and so forth, Mercosur, for example, do not have one single institution that can impose standards, that can impose rules after a consultation, a legislative process. There are still single states that needs different ways of interaction, different ways of cooperation. So the without borders
of mutual recognition is much more important in this kind of environment.
Totally, and it's much more difficult when it passes from the unique language that is technology standards to another different language that is more nuanced, that is the one of politics.
But still, trust is important even there, and CSC can work around it, of course.
Absolutely, and it is in the mission of CSC to work on standards. It is a standardization agency at the very end, but on the same time works on advocacy, spread the word, and offer opportunities to cooperate and to permit to our world to advance without borders.
Okay. So from signature to verification, from identity and digital identity to authorization, from interoperability, technical interoperability, to mutual recognition. It's more large as a concept, but still very important, and trust as a common field, let's say, of play where CSC can work and can improve the business and the security around the world.
So trust and not anymore signature. Signature remains the main pillars around what we will build, and we are building a full stack of trusted services all around the world, hopefully without borders.
Hopefully. And last question, if I can ask you, what do you see in the future of the CSC? There will be more members from outside Europe. There will be another Trust Without Borders.
Well, what we see from the board perspective is that the association is growing. It's growing in terms of the number of the members, and we're happy about that. There is even thanks to the traction that bringing the association local territories gives us a reduction in terms of proportions of the numbers of Europe and a growth of the members of other regions, and this is good to have different point of views that permits us to advance. There will be an extra Trust Without Borders next year. The board deliberates it in Bogota. It will be in a different region. We are now understanding where and talking with the local communities. There will be even a celebration this year because the Cloud Signature Consortium turns 10 years of activities, and I have to say 10 years of successes.
That's great. That's great. Thank you, Igor, and thank you to all the followers of Tinexta InfoCert Hello Trust. Please put a follow on LinkedIn and YouTube and our other channels, and to the next episodes of Hello Trust.